All right, guys, so you know that Trump has been wildly flailing against Ron DeSantis, and he's doing that because he feels threatened. Trump deep down knows that his candidates got destroyed in the midterms. He knows they super underperformed and Democrats overperformed. He knows that he's getting blamed for that. He sees how an exception to what happened with Republicans in the midterms is Ron DeSantis in Florida, where, they overperformed the polls. There were only a couple pockets around the country where Republicans did well. Another one is New York, but that was more because of redistricting and misallocation of funds as to why Democrats lost in New York. And then in Ohio, Republicans won, but it was still an underperformance for them. Democrats did better than the polling. So really the only standout in the country was Florida with Ron DeSantis. So Trump is more threatened than ever. And so now he's, Governor Ron DeSanctimonious, I made him, don't be disloyal. He's not a class act. I love how his evidence of DeSantis not being a class act was, when DeSantis was asked about running for president in 2024, he goes, look, I'm not thinking about that. I'm governor, I'm running to be governor, and let's focus on that. And Trump melted down over that. Why? Because he didn't say, oh no, Trump is the leader, and so I'm not running against him ever. He didn't say that, so Trump was melting down. He just looks like a little petty bitch, like a little catty high school loser, right? Well, now DeSantis, in his, first press conference since Trump has continuously gone after him, he's asked about it, a reporter asked him about it, and here's Ron DeSantis' response to Trump.
What do you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you?
Well, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida. And it wasn't just the best governor victory. Of course, it was that. But we swept in super majorities in the Florida legislature. We have 85 Republicans out of 120 in our state house. We've never had that many before. We have 28 senators out of 40 that are Republicans. Never had that many. And honestly, they could have had 29 if they would have done the Osceola one. We won Osceola County at the top of the ticket, and I think we probably could have done that. So you see that. You see the school boards. We're electing all these great people to school boards. We had 16 Republican members of the U.S. House from Florida. Now we have 20 going up there. So that's four seats right there. So at the end of the day, I think people respond to the leadership. They respond to the results. And so that's why, even though I know anytime I do anything and you're over the target, you're going to face incoming. That's just the nature of it. But that's not ultimately what matters to people. What matters to people is, are you standing up for them? Are you leading? And are you getting things done?
Go ahead, everybody. Tell me I was right. Go ahead. Post it in the comment section. Everybody's thinking it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Just say, hey, dog, you did it. You called it. I mean, it is what it is. What can I say? The idea that as of right now, it is fair to compare Ron DeSantis to Jeb Bush back in 2016, or Marco Rubio, or Ted Cruz, or John Kasich, or any of those Republicans that Trump bulldozed. It's honestly laughable. It's laughable. The base actually likes DeSantis. Nobody liked those other guys. Trump back then used to counterpunch. Now he's throwing the first punch. Don't tell me that it's comparable right now. Now, look, here's the caveat. It is possible that eventually, with time, DeSantis crumbles. It is possible that when he's on that stage with Donald Trump, Trump beats him down and plays it well, and DeSantis doesn't play it well. But, look, it's also possible the mood in the country has changed. Everybody knows Trump is an insider now, not an outsider, so his attacks don't land as well. And also that aggressive debate style that Trump used, yeah, it worked against Hillary. It worked in the Republican primaries in 2016. It did not work against Joe Biden. He came across as unhinged and annoying to people. And Joe Biden, half asleep, ended up winning those debates and winning the presidency. So, as of right now, DeSantis has not made a single misstep. Not a single misstep. And I think everybody needs to acknowledge that. And that's why a lot of the polls now were reflecting that. If you had asked me, I would have guessed it still would have taken a little longer for DeSantis to get an actual lead in some of the polls. He got there quicker. Some polls, he's now up as much as 7 points. To be fair, there are other polls where Trump is still up. Some polls, Trump is still up double digits. But we might have a dogfight on our hands, man. I just hope he doesn't cuck out. Well, actually, I don't know what I hope. Because if he does cuck out and not run against Trump, and Trump wins the nomination because there's 7 other establishment Republican candidates, and Trump wins with like 35% of the vote or whatever the fuck, then, the Democrats are 98% likely to win the election, the general election, right? But if DeSantis isn't a cuck and does run, then we have a fucking dogfight on our hands. And it should be really, really interesting. So there's his response. He walked the exact right line, in my opinion. Because how can anybody who's a Trump fan look at that and say, he's not being kind to Donnie, he's being mean? No, that's not rude, and he's done this great job of walking this line of not being a pro-Trump sycophant and not being anti-Trump, and that's kind of the line you need to walk if you want to win some of his supporters to your side and also expand and get independents and moderates and things like that. So, but don't get it twisted. Look, final point, and you guys all know this already, but how often did Ron DeSantis vote with Donald Trump when Ron DeSantis was a congressman? 94% of the time. So they're very, very, very similar policy-wise. The main difference here is like temperamental. It's temperamental, and like how much baggage does DeSantis bring to the table versus Trump? So it's going to be interesting, man. The GOP civil war is in full effect, and the 2024 primary season is in full effect. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.